Hey, and welcome back to Game Talk. I'm your host, Sam and Mion. Today I'm joined by Connor.
Hey, guys.
And Mike.
Hello.
And there's two bits of news that we want to talk about today. We want to talk about the recent PlayStation State of Play, as well as the Meta Connect. Connor, our resident VR enthusiast here, has some opinions on that. But let's start with the State of Play. I think it was overall an above average State of Play, especially considering Sony's recent
Oh
shows.
my god, yeah.
It still doesn't quite reach the highs of like the late 2010s, where I would argue PlayStation was putting out the best shows out there, but it was decent.
I went into this with no expectations and was kind of blown away, actually.
Obviously, they announced a lot of things. It was like 50 minutes or something, which
That's pretty long.
also is longer than most of their other shows recently. But a few announcements definitely stuck out to me, so let's just go over at a high level the announcements that really caught our attention. So the first one to me, and I believe the first thing they opened with, was Astrobot. And I thought this was a really classy opener because they had Nicolas Doucet, the game director for Astrobot, basically open their State of Play. I don't know if you caught that, Connor, because I think you watched it, right?
I watched it late. I wasn't watching it live, but yeah, I actually didn't know. I was cooking while I watched, so I didn't catch that it was I didn't catch who was doing the presentation at all.
Yeah, so it started with Astrobot, and like it had like the little Astros, the logos, and everything. So I think after the success of Astrobot, Sony is really kind of leaning into Astro as like the face of PlayStation, which I think is a wise move. But Astrobot DLC was announced completely free. The speedrun levels from Astro's Playroom are coming back, which is huge, because that was like the one thing to me that was lacking in Astrobot. The speedrun levels in Astro's Playroom were a lot of fun, and this is coming from someone who never like does speedruns, but I sure as heck did play the Astro's Playroom speedruns and enjoyed those very much. So I'm glad to see we're getting speedrun levels in Astrobot, kind of like the only thing that was missing, in my opinion. And now it's going to be a perfect game. So
Yeah,
excited to see that.
I think it's just exciting to see a little post-launch support. This isn't the kind of game you would expect it for, I don't think. I guess,
Yeah.
I mean, Mario got Luigi's Balloon World after launch, but typically 3D platformers, they launch maybe some bug fixes, but they're done when they come out. So it's cool to see a little bit more. And it is just a little bit more, right? It's like 5 short levels or something.
Yeah, the speedrun levels, there's going to be a few new bots to collect too, but
10, it looks like, yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a little update, but
It's like a little...
you can get a lot of juice out of those speedrun levels. Like,
right.
for Astro's Playroom in particular, I remember looking at my friends list, seeing the times, like the best times on there, and really kind of competing to shave off seconds and one of my friends. They're only 5 levels, but like, it's a lot more content than just 5 levels. You're going to get a lot of time out of that if you care about speedrun.
Right. That's cool. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, happy to see Astrobot getting the love he deserves.
His design, like, retroactively makes me hate the design of the PS5 a little less. Like,
yeah, it kind of justifies it in a weird way.
yeah. It doesn't get me. It doesn't get me there. It doesn't get me to liking it, but hating it less, certainly.
Right. And the other thing, I guess we'll talk about it now, is that surprising VR presence at this State of Play 2, kind of showing that Sony is still trying to support VR.
Sorta, yeah.
PSVR 2. We saw Metro, the Metro VR game.
Right. Is that, I'll probably have that in front of me. Is that coming to Quest, or is that PC and PSVR 2 exclusive?
I don't know what other platforms it's coming to. I just know about PSVR 2.
I know it's coming to PC. I'm looking it up right now, because anything coming to Quest, coming to other stuff is not terribly surprising to me. No, it is coming to Quest. So, yeah.
Okay.
This isn't a Sony investment, per se. Metro's not, at least.
Yeah. Metro is a cross-platform.
It really is a situation right now for VR devs where you just have to release it. It has to come to Quest. That's where any hope of making some money is. And then you hope you can release everywhere. That's the game right now, it seems like.
Yeah, but Sony giving time for these games at the show shows something at least. There's a
True.
A small.
It's better than the
pulse
Vita
there,
got.
you know, it's better than like no pulse at all. So.
Yeah.
But the other VR game that really stood out to me was Hitman World of Assassination. Now, I know traditionally Hitman's ventures into VR haven't been stellar, but the concept is so good. If they pull it off, this could be an all-timer game.
This is gonna be terrible. I'm saying it right now. So they have already done 3 attempts at Hitman in VR. There was the PSVR Hitman VR for the original PlayStation VR.
Right.
It was terrible. They ported that to PC with some improvements. That was pretty bad. I've played it. It's not an enjoyable way to play the game. They just released and it's not World of Assassination, it's only Hitman 3, but it's called Hitman 3 Reloaded, I think, and it's Quest exclusive, and it's abysmal. It's so ugly. It doesn't run well. It's it's running on Quest hardware, so like you're gonna get what you're gonna get, but it doesn't work from what I've seen. I haven't played it to grain of salt, but everything I've seen is that it's just horrendous. There's just zero reason to think this is gonna be any good.
Yeah, I mean, past evidence definitely points to it being terrible, but I gotta hope, man. I gotta hope.
How many times are they gonna try with the same game?
I mean, they keep trying though, so maybe that points to their kind of.
But they haven't improved.
Trying to get it right.
There have been no improvements in between these outings. No meaningful improvements.
But you can see the potential there, though, right? Like if they do this right,
yeah,
what an incredible VR experience this would be.
I guess I don't think it has the potential to beat a real ground up VR game.
Yeah, that's always the trick too. Like unless it's ground up, it's very hard to really.
Yeah, there've been successes. Like No Man's Sky is a very successful VR conversion. I hear that Skyrim with mods is a pretty successful conversion now. I would argue it really wasn't at launch, but it's just nothing's gonna beat Half-Life Alyx, or even like Wrath of Asgard 2. Is that what it's called?
Oh right, yeah. Weird game that came out of nowhere with like a 95 on Metacritic.
It's really fun. It's really fun.
Okay, so those were the 2 VR things that really stood out to me.
I was happy to see there was one other. What was it called? The Midnight Walk is one that's just going to have PSVR support, which I think is neat. I am still somebody, I don't think the technology is there yet from a comfort perspective, but building it into games, it'll already be there when the technology catches up. There is like just being immersed in VR and playing a platformer is not like, it's never going to be a negative to have that functionality to me. It's always cool that it's there.
Right, and Astrobot really demonstrated how good that concept can be when done really well.
Right. Very much so. And there are a couple other games that have kind of built on that now on the Quest platform. I can't remember their names right now. I don't put on my Quest that often. But I don't think they're... Right. I say they built on those ideas, as in they used those ideas to build another game. I don't think Astrobot has not been surpassed. Certainly.
Okay, so moving on... There were, and again, we're just going to talk about games that caught our eye. We might miss some stuff, so please excuse us if we missed your favorite game shown. But I just want to briefly talk about Power World coming to PlayStation. Yeah. And more so, I want to talk about it because Nintendo is suing Power World for patent infringement, which is kind of a weird suit, but...
Comes to PlayStation just in time to leave everywhere.
Right, that's what I was going to say. Like, do we see a future in which Power World is just nuked from orbit?
I hope not. I sincerely hope Nintendo loses this lawsuit because it sets a really, really bad precedent.
Yeah, I originally... Do you know the details of this lawsuit?
Not... I know that theoretically they are suing over the Pokeball mechanic. The fact that you throw a ball.
That's crazy to me. Like, initially I was like, okay, they're suing over the creature designs, which I get.
It's patent.
Okay?
Yeah.
I know, right? Like, but if they had sued over the creature designs, I would have seen, like...
Absolutely.
I would have
understood. Have a very strong case.
But they're suing over the mechanic of throwing a ball to catch something.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to me.
Sucks so bad.
So this, to me, reads more as... Nintendo didn't really care about Power World, but they saw an opportunity to basically get a patent for Pokemon catching, and they seized it. That's what it seems like to me.
Well, what's weird is that patent was filed after Palworld came out, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I haven't read. I haven't been following this super closely, so take that with a grain of salt. Look it up yourself. But I think that they did want to go after Palworld, and something about Japanese IP law, they didn't see themselves winning a case over the designs, but they thought they could.
Yeah, that could be true.
Patent trolling.
My first thought when I saw this was that, Nintendo is using this as an opportunity to basically reserve that patent, like defend that patent in court so that no one else tries to make anything like Pokemon ever again.
Yeah, which sucks. Really bad. Because Pokemon's trash. Like, the new Pokemon games are bad, and there needs to be competition in that space.
So that was really surprising to me that they wanted to sue based off of the catching mechanic. That was a shocker.
Yeah. Yeah, because this isn't the first ball throwing, capturing game. What, Temtems? Doesn't it have?
Temtem, yeah.
Throwing a ball to capture your Temtem?
Just Palworld was big.
Yeah, Temtem wasn't small.
Massive.
But it wasn't as big as Palworld.
Yeah.
I mean, we kept talking about Palworld while it was growing, and then we were like, it's never going to reach Pokemon numbers, and then it very much did reach Pokemon numbers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Palworld was crazy. That was last year, right?
That was this year.
That was this year?
That was this year, yeah. That was early this year.
Crazy, wow.
Yeah, it was literally this year.
What a year. What a wild ride we've been on. Game of the year talk gonna go crazy this year.
Yeah, right. The next game I wanted to highlight, Sonic X Shadow Generations. Dude, the more I see this game, the more I'm excited for this game.
I think I wasn't going to buy it, but they recently said that the Shadow half is going to be about the same size.
An entire new campaign, basically. Just 2 games in one.
I have to buy it.
And plus, I've never played Sonic Generations, so this is going to be a huge
game for you. You're going to get...
Yeah. Especially as someone who has really, fallen out of love with 3D Sonic.
Sonic Generations is really good, dude.
That's what I hear. So
Sonic Generations is worth the cost of admission for the music alone.
Yeah, so
really good.
Sonic Generations plus a whole Shadow campaign,
plus Keanu Reeves playing Shadow,
plus Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow, all polished to a mirror sheen. I'm very excited to play it.
While we're talking about this, because I don't know that it's going to come up again soon. Where's the Chao Garden, Sega? Why? They recently said in an interview, we'd love to bring it back. No one is stopping you.
Yeah, it's been a couple decades, Sega. No one's stopping you.
They said that it is deeply connected to the adventure formula for them. And so unless Sonic Adventure comes back, the Chao Garden will not come back. Give me Sonic Adventure 3.
That language kind of hints to me that they're thinking about it.
No, don't even say that. There's no way. They are absolutely just dashing people's hopes. I don't believe for a second they're thinking about Sonic Adventure 3. There have been so many opportunities, so many low points where it was the obvious way to make some money that they should have done it. They're not doing it right now. They're in a pretty good spot right now.
Well, okay, so we're going to see this game come out, presumably be successful, and then... Well, here's the thing. Sonic Frontiers was successful too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're on a hot
not
streak.
Like the case of
and Sonic Superstars.
I guess what I'm trying to say is they have no real excuse. They don't have any evidence that Sonic Adventure coming back will outperform their other 3D games. I guess.
Yeah.
Even though we all know that's going to happen.
Oh my God, yeah. I think the Sonic IP is just allergic to money.
I don't think so right now. Sonic Frontiers was good and I think made money. Sonic Generations re-release is guaranteed to make some money. It's just a well-liked game. The Sonic Colors re-release probably made money even though it was terrible. And then Sonic Superstars, I think a lot of people forget this even came out, but I think it did okay. People liked it. It was just a 2D modern Sonic game that people liked pretty well.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think the Sonic IP in a video game sense, and I guess in a general sense too with the movies, is in a pretty strong spot.
Stronger than it's been in 20 years.
Yeah, I think it might be premature to say this, but the era of mediocre Sonic might be coming to an end. Because recent games have been quite good. Sonic Frontiers was mediocre,
fine,
but
at best. Yeah.
It's better than being actively horrendous they have been for so long.
We're out of the Sonic 06 era, I would say.
Mm-hmm. which at one point was my favorite game of all time as a child.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With no taste.
I keep that in mind every time we're talking about, every time we're discussing the quality of a game on the show.
The opinions of a 12-year-old or whatever.
I just thought the music was good. That's all I cared about.
I still
that
think
game.
that the music's
just still good.
Yeah, and the cutscenes.
Yeah, the cutscenes were the big thing to me because I remember playing it on my PS3 and being like, "Look at the graphics on the first cutscene." And to be fair, the graphics on the first cutscene were unbelievable. Then it looked like pure trash after that.
Animated Blu-ray movie I'm watching.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to briefly bring up Dragon Age The Veilguard because I really do believe every time they show this game, it looks horrendous.
Yeah,
like,
this was a really boring trailer. Like,
they don't know how to show this game. I think that's the issue because everyone who's played it is saying that this is a classic BioWare game through and through, and that BioWare is kind of back with this game. And I do believe the previews, but every time they show it, they just make it seem like the most bland, generic fantasy nonsense.
This trailer's only 4 minutes long. I'm looking at it right now. I could have sworn it was over 10 minutes. Like, I picked up my remote and fast forwarded through it because I got bored during this trailer. It was crazy.
Yeah,
as someone who played like the first Dragon Age game and fell off immediately afterwards because I didn't play 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even watch the trailer. I have no interest in the IP anymore.
So I do hear good things about this game from people who have played it. And I'm like you, Mike, where I played 1. 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. Tried 2, hated it. Played 3, thought it was pretty good, but didn't finish it. But Veilguard, just from the impressions I've been reading, seems to be a very good game. So I'm definitely going to wait for reviews before locking in my purchase. But if the reviews are positive, I'm very much looking forward to jumping back into Dragon Age because that was a very formative RPG for me growing up.
So the next thing that was announced is like had me. I imagine you guys didn't care at all, but I was like popping off with Alan Wake 2 DLC, and this looks like a meatier DLC than the last one. This is called
this was
the Lake House.
The Lake House. Was this the first time they announced this?
We knew there was more DLC coming. We didn't know what it was going to be.
Okay.
So
yeah, the Lake House, and I'm excited for this to come out because I have not played Alan Wake 2 yet, but when I do play it, it's going to be a position of all the DLC is going to be out and like the game's bugs are going to be ironed out.
Yeah, so hopefully you can just play it. You're probably playing on PlayStation, right?
Yeah, I'm probably going to play it on PS5 Pro. Like,
yeah, that's
actually Alan Wake 2 was one of the games I was waiting for Pro to play. So
yeah, that makes sense.
And it's been confirmed to get Pro support as well, so that's great.
Yeah, it'd probably be a better. You don't have your PC hooked up to your TV though, so it's probably better on the PlayStation for you.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Like, especially because Alan Wake 2, I mean, that was a heavy contender for Game of the Year last year. And it's a game I've not played yet, so
it's insane.
Excited to play a game of that quality. Yeah.
Hopefully you have some time in October. You won't have the PS5 yet, so that'll be November.
Yeah, the PS5 Pro happens in November, yeah. So.
Yeah, so you're going to miss Halloween, but
that's okay. I mean, I can wait a little bit.
It's such a good game, dude. I'm really excited. I was hoping this was Control 2 getting announced, which we know Control 2
I think is a little premature because they're still working on Alan Wake.
Yeah. The end of the last, I don't know what they're going to do with this. The end of the last DLC was a kind of cliffhanger-y. So I don't know if this is going to be a continuation of that or just a totally different. You really never know what they're going to do with this.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So the next game I want to discuss is Monster Hunter Wilds. It finally got a release date.
It's February 28th.
February. Yeah.
Early. I was thinking March.
Yeah.
I was like, in my heart, I thought March was optimistic. So February 28th, I'm stoked. And this was a good trailer too.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I also kind of wanted to float by you. What do you think of their PC specs?
They're bad. They're really bad. They don't make sense is what's wild. Those PC specs are for 1080p, Ahmed.
Yeah, that was mind-blowing to me.
1080p is going to be in 2024.
So this is going to be one of the heaviest games ever.
So this game's probably not even hitting 1080p on the base PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, I shudder. Like, Pro will be slightly better, but like I shudder to think on the base machines, because how is this game going to run?
These are PC first games, from what I understand too. They're developed PC first. RE Engine is a PC first everything. So my question is, they're so bad, I think it's a translation error. Like, their recommended specs are 60 frames per second.
They would have corrected that by now if it was a translation error.
60 FPS using frame gen, which is...
Yeah, that's astonishing.
Distinctly not the use case for that technology. That'll feel terrible. Now, granted, I'm pretty confident. I blow these specs out of the water with my PC. I'm pretty confident I'm going to be 60 FPS and then frame gen up to 120. I think I'll be fine.
Most people playing this game will not be able to handle it.
The Steam Deck is not going to run this game, which is not surprising, I guess, but it is upsetting. What's really bad about it is that it looks to be CPU limited, which isn't that surprising coming from Dragon's Dogma. But
what I will say about that is that in time, I think that will improve. Like, they've made CPU optimizations to Dragon's Dogma, so maybe something similar needs to happen for this game.
Monster Hunter, so maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
They also, like it says, these are not final. These are not the final PC specs. So this could be better by launch, especially with how much people are crying about it. But the GPU specs were not that surprising. Those were like what I expect. It's the CPU that kind of is worrying, and that's kind of doubly worrying because CPU is where people tend to cheap out. It's where I tend to cheap out on PC because it's very rare you're CPU limited.
Coming into the future, I think CPU limited is going to be the new.
I think you're right. I think graphics are reaching a point, but it also just sets such a bad precedent to have frame gen, or even like
rely on frame gen to reach 60. I hope that does not become a crutch.
I mean, upscaling just shouldn't be mentioned at all in system requirements, in my opinion. It should be a way to cheat minimum system requirements so that you can get a game playable.
That's the thing here, and kind of interesting that you point that out, is that I think as these AI upscaling techniques become more the norm, become more coupled with your hardware, whatever that might be, console, AMD, NVIDIA graphics cards, that might just become part of the specs, because the assumption will be then that everyone is having one of these cards that can do something like this.
What's confusing and kind of curious is that the latest gameplay of Monster Hunter Wilds is running a lot better than what we've seen before. This came out of Tokyo Game Show, and it's running on PS5, presumably base PS5. They've said that they don't have it even working. I think they're not even verified yet for PS5 Pro. So this is just on base PS5 running at 60 FPS, and it looks good. Granted, it's YouTube compressed and everything, and we haven't gotten Digital Foundry in there picking through it to see if it's actually a locked 60. But it looks good. And everybody's saying it's 60 FPS. I haven't looked super closely at it because I don't think that a YouTube video is really a valid way to assess these things, unless it's a Digital Foundry YouTube video.
Right.
But
yeah,
I don't know. I don't
those
know.
Specs really stood out to me as like, wow, this is a very heavy game.
It is. And Dragon's Dogma being CPU limited, there's a lot of NPCs moving around. There's a lot of stuff going on. Even with the herd dynamics of Monster Hunter Wilds, I question whether or not that should be CPU limited. I think that's very strange, and it makes me wonder if what we're actually seeing is seeing the cracks in the RE engine, that it's really just not very good for an open world game.
Yeah, it could be. There are some rumors out there that are saying Resident Evil 9 is going to be an open world horror game. So
also it can run bad too.
Yeah, it can run bad too. Or I don't know, like maybe they want to retool RE engine to be more open world friendly, because seemingly all their big IP are going in that direction.
Yeah.
But
it is too. What I can say is that Monster Hunter always puts a demo out well before launch. Like, we might have a demo as early as the first of the year or something. They like to put a demo out pretty early. So you're going to know how this runs on your PC before you buy it. And I think it's probably going to be a good idea to run that demo before you decide what platform you're going to play on or whatever.
No, I will definitely be doing that, because I would prefer to play this thing on PS5 Pro, but if it's gonna run sub 60,
I don't think it'll be sub 60. I think it might be sub 1080p though.
Well, with PSSR, I feel like that might be okay.
It'll probably.
But if it is, if the frame rate is an issue, I will end up getting this on PC.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Let me know. The demo is going to be multiplayer and cross-platform, so we can check it out.
No, I will definitely check that out. So, moving right along here, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered.
Yeah, I fast-forwarded through this too.
Why?
Yeah, this is... Well,
Why?
no, that's not true. This is not a why situation, in my opinion. This is a game... Well, it should have been free. I'll say it should have been free. But the PC version of this game was kind of a mess. They hadn't really come into their own on PC releases yet. So releasing the remaster, and I think it's like a $10 upgrade on PC.
Yeah, it's a $10 upgrade if you own the game.
So
on any platform.
This is kind of a needed update, I guess, for PC. Should have been free. Definitely should have been free. All they're really doing is, as far as PC is concerned, all they're doing is making the game work, which is annoying to have to pay a second time for. But whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at this from the PC audience perspective. I was looking at this from the PlayStation perspective. And from that perspective, I do kind of agree with Mike. Like, why does this need to exist?
Yeah.
Granted, Horizon Zero Dawn sold extraordinarily well.
The main reason
over 20 million copies. But this is a game that came out in 2017, right? Like, even... Like, it doesn't matter how popular the game is.
Sony loves a remaster.
The assumption is that within 7 years, we're already going to be buffing up the graphics of our games.
Yeah.
It's just a little much, I think.
I'm confident that the layman will not be able to tell the difference between the remaster and the original.
Yeah, I mean, you can barely tell.
I don't know about that.
The layman, the average person.
Because it's not just so they're calling it a remaster, but in all... But name, I think it is largely a remake because the assets are all getting replaced. Like the character models replaced. They're making everything look like Forbidden West. That was their goal, right? They wanted the graphics to be on par with Forbidden West.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just don't see the point in that.
Value.
Like it's totally fine if like you go from one game to the next in a series and there's a big graphical jump. In fact, I really enjoy that. It shows like
who's doing it. I mean, was it just a studio that needed something to do?
I think it might have been Nixxes.
Okay.
So for like the PC port as well. So
yeah, I don't know.
And
it feels like a
let me
cash
just say,
grab. But
this is coming from someone who really likes Horizon Zero Dawn, like far more than Forbidden West. I thought Zero Dawn was an exceptional game. But, like, I'm totally fine playing the 2017 version because even now...
It looks good. I've seen the screenshots.
It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, the Decima engine, the games that get put out on the Decima engine are all exceptionally good looking. It is one of the most beautiful game engines that I've played. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but whatever. It's happening. What else? Okay, so they did... show Lego Horizon again. I thought this was an interesting... Like, I'm not going to play this game, but I think it's fascinating that this game exists because they're taking something that normally would be sequestered off in Sony's walled garden and basically throwing it over to the masses. Like, we're getting a Sony game on a Nintendo console, and that's just something of a rarity. So,
yeah.
Just wanted to point it out for that reason. So I'm curious to see how this thing will sell. Obviously very much targeted towards kids and maybe trying to get kids on board with the Horizon franchise. Okay, so one last thing before the final announcement. They did have a quick reel of all the PS5 Pro games, or not all of them, but like a bunch of them.
Yeah.
That are going to be supported when the console launches. And I thought this was very important because it's really showing that they're really not kidding around with the launch of this thing. At launch, this thing's going to have 40 to 50 games that are supported. And some of the upgrades are transformative. I've been watching Digital Foundry's kind of coverage of the PS5 Pro. They flew Oliver McKenzie out to get firsthand footage, play on the PS5 Pro. And obviously I listened to his comments, very insightful. And some of these Pro updates are quite transformative. Like, particularly, you look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Right, that's the big one.
It's like putting on a pair of glasses.
But the problem with that for me is that it doesn't indicate... That one in particular does not indicate to me the power of the PS5 Pro. It indicates to me how much of a mess Final Fantasy was at launch, because it looks awful before the Pro, and it looks
it
great
looked terrible, yeah.
And that sucks. They never should have released a game that looked awful. What were they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like
the rest I
sold very well.
Like I see the difference, and I think I do think the Pro looks good. I'm not dunking on the Pro here. I'm dunking on Square Enix, and I think they need it because they're not in a good place right now.
And another game that particularly Oliver commented on was Horizon Forbidden West. Already one of the best looking games on PlayStation.
Yeah.
It just looks jaw-droppingly gorgeous on Pro. And that's not too surprising to me because Guerrilla Games, and like I said, the Decima engine in particular, are really kind of at the forefront of graphics on PlayStation. So I'm excited for that, just for the eye candy. But he mentioned a couple other games as well, particularly F1, the F1 game, like the racing, Formula 1 racing game. He called that almost a generational update, and I saw the footage, and it looked very, very good. Like, racing on that track in the rain, it looked photorealistic at times, so...
And you...
Kind of cool seeing this console.
While we're talking about it, you scooped a 30th anniversary...
I did. Wow. Yeah, that was a very stressful. Very stressful experience.
I'm falling off. I don't know if I'm gonna buy the digital edition, the standard PS5. I don't think I am.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm falling off of it. It's a lot of money for something I only want to play Astrobot on.
Yeah. There are a couple games that you would probably.
There's Astrobot. There's The Last of Us Part 2, which I care less about.
God of War Ragnarok.
God of War Ragnarok's on PC.
Right, but I guess you'd rather play it on.
Every game
PC,
available, I'm gonna buy on PC versus PlayStation. That's just
Spider-Man 2. Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 and Astrobot are the two big ones, and then I would also play Last of Us.
Would you play Demon's Souls?
No, probably not. I could play it on PC if I really wanted to, and with emulation or.
Oh, but the remake. I mean, like,
I just
it looks
don't care that
stunning.
much. I'm not a remake guy. I'd rather play the original game typically.
Okay, yeah, fair. But anyway, so yeah, I woke up the morning this was dropping, and at 10 a.m., which is when it was releasing in the US,
which we didn't know, right? Like,
we found out like the night before.
Okay,
so it was very much a case of Sony trying to. They weren't advertising anything, right? Because they knew it was going to be a bloodbath trying to get this thing.
They only made
12,000 of them.
Yeah.
So I did. I got on at 10. I was on 5 different devices on the PlayStation Direct website.
Yeah.
And the way their queuing system works is that, like, when it opens, if you're already on the site, it just randomizes your place in the queue. So it's really kind of luck.
Yeah.
If you get in or not. And one of my devices, my phone, got in pretty quickly. So I think I was...
Worst way to enter a credit card, though.
I know, right? But, like, I'll take it. But I was certainly among the first people in, because it happened pretty quickly on my phone.
I'm excited to see what number you get.
None of my other devices even made it in. I was on there for an hour. So, but I did manage to grab one. I got the PS5 Pro bundle. They also did not announce the price at all. Like, they only found out by, like, comparing it to other regions when it went live in other regions, and it was $1,000. So $999.
Less than I expected, for the record. Like, that's actually not a terrible value for what you're getting in this bundle, in my opinion. For a limited edition,
so you got the console, the DualSense Edge, and like a charger and like a disc cover thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if we're taking the PS5 Pro at face value of costing $700, then yes,
then it's a good
It's less than costs less than the sum of all of the components. But anyway, yes. So I grabbed one. Was stressed all day because I didn't get a confirmation email until like 7 hours later. Like, I'm not even kidding, 7 hours later. But once I got that, I was like, okay, I can.
Isn't this the second time you've had to wait in line for something? Because I think you had a similar story about the Switch, right?
Did I? I don't even remember. Yeah, I have no memory of that.
You probably did if you
remember.
Got,
it being a joke that you had to go into like a Toys R Us to get a Switch.
I do remember. For my Switch, I was in person at a store somewhere.
It might have been that.
I remember that. Yeah,
because I remember me and my sister used to joke about you like shoving a toddler out of the way to get the last Switch at a Toys R Us.
My roommate and I drove all around Morgantown looking for one and couldn't find it. I didn't expect them to sell out like that naively, I guess.
Oh yeah, Switch 2 is going to be disgusting.
I'm not even gonna buy one at launch, probably.
Didn't you also do this for their base PS5 as well? Sit there and wait in line for it?
I definitely F5 when it comes to consoles, I don't mess around. Let's just make something clear.
Been waiting in line for various consoles for years.
Interestingly, though, we've been talking a lot about console price on the show recently. I don't know if you saw this, Ahmed, but the PS5 Pro is not sold out.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Pro is never going to sell out. PS4 Pro didn't sell out.
Did it not?
I mean,
okay, because I've seen a lot of people surprised, and to me,
no, that's all manufactured nonsense. People just wanted reason to dunk on PlayStation.
To me, this suggests that maybe people are not ready for a $700 console, though, or even a $600 next gen.
But whether it's the selling out of it, that was never a factor. They were never going to make limited quantities of this thing to the extent that it would sell out.
I mean,
because they didn't do that.
Sell enough.
They didn't do that for the PS4 Pro. They know it's a niche
the chips
product.
were easier to get back then. Stuff didn't sell out that often when the PS4 came out.
I guess that's fair, but yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised by this at all. Like, I knew they would have more than enough.
I was a little surprised because I mean, there are a lot of scalpers sitting on them now. A lot of people seem pretty surprised. There are scalpers sitting on them, having to sell them at cost.
The scalpers are not going to make money.
Yeah, the scalper targeting the PS5 Pro is really stupid. The scalper targeting the limited edition 30th anniversary console, that's the play if you're a scalper.
It's going to make some money.
You can sell that for probably, 3 to 5x its value right now. So, anyways, okay. So, Pro talk out of the way. The final thing they showed at the show was Ghost of Yōtei.
This looks good.
Finally, the much-awaited sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. It looks gorgeous. Like, obviously, it was kind of just a cinematic trailer, but one thing Ghost of Tsushima nails so hard is the atmosphere and the vibes of Japan. And this is Sucker Punch's second outing, and as we know, Mike, when Sucker Punch makes a sequel to a game, they really make a great game. I'm speaking specifically of Infamous 2 versus Infamous 1. So
I got that for free and never played it because of the PSN hack
Infamous
back
2
in the day.
was just better.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Infamous 2 was great.
Well, I actually never played Infamous 2.
Really?
Wait, what?
I played Infamous 1 and I never got around to playing 2.
That's crazy.
It's on my list of games that I needed to play, but now it's been far
I mean,
too
it's
long,
too late now.
Late to the party.
No, Infamous 2 was fantastic. One of the standouts on PlayStation 3.
I really liked Infamous 1.
I never played Infamous. I was tired of bald dudes on the covers of games.
That's
Infamous
fair.
is fantastic. I think it's one of my favorite superhero games.
Mine's getting called out. No, Infamous is great, but I more brought up Infamous just to highlight the fact that when a Sony first party particular goes from entry 1 to entry 2 of a franchise, you almost always see a drastic jump up in quality. Like, I'm talking like Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2, and now Ghost of Tsushima to Ghost of Yōtei. I hope we see a similar jump because, and I might get some flack for this, I really like Ghost of Tsushima. I wasn't crazy about it like everyone else was. I thought the atmosphere was really good. I thought the gameplay was fun, but it was a little too Ubisofty for me. But I really do think they're going to learn a lot and apply those lessons to Ghost of Yōtei. And I really think it's cool that they're sticking to, I guess, regions/areas of Japan that aren't kind of in the mainstream consciousness, right? Because, like, Tsushima was like a small island on Japan that not a lot of people have heard of, unless you're Japanese or study Japanese history. Yōtei is a beautiful scenic mountain, and you can see it, like, today. It still exists, and it's gorgeous, and I think it's going to be a great setting for this game. So, definitely very excited for this one. Going to pick it up next year when it launches, and just incidentally, it seems like 2025, we're finally going to be getting a fair bit of PlayStation first party, because we know Death Stranding 2 on the beach is coming out next year, which every time Kojima shows it looks even more insane. I don't know if you saw, Connor, but like, he was like, yeah, there's a photo mode in the game, and the photo mode actually impacts the story. I was like, okay. Thanks, Kojima.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. So Kojima doing weird Kojima things.
If he could make a good game that was crazy and zany like this, I'd be really
Stranding
into
was
it.
good, man.
No, it wasn't, dude. I played 20 hours of it. No, it wasn't.
You liked it. You said you liked it.
I said it's fine.
It's fine.
Okay,
I didn't like it enough
Death
to
Stranding
finish
is
it.
good. No, Death Stranding, I think it is more divisive than like his previous games, like, namely the Metal Gear Solid games.
Yeah.
But I fell on the camp of really liking it. But yeah, Death Stranding 2, we're probably going to get Venom next year. Venom being the interstitial game between Spider-Man 2 and 3, much like Miles Morales was for 1 and 2.
Which means we'll probably get Spider-Man 2 on PC around then. That's how it was with Miles Morales.
I mean, I would see it. Yeah, I could see it, yeah. So at least I think 3 big first-party games coming out next year. Probably way more, just judging by like the schedules and how long everyone has been quiet. But anyways, I don't know. Mike, you said you were playing Ghost of Tsushima. Did you see that trailer for Ghost of Yōtei?
I have not. I've been avoiding anything about Ghost of Tsushima because I wanted to play it. Because the only reason I started playing Ghost of Tsushima is because I saw the intro and like a TikTok reel. I'm like, I gotta play this game.
Yeah, the intro's fantastic, and I can't stress enough, the atmosphere in that game is first class. I mean,
it's
almost no one can
beautiful.
match it. It's so scenic, and every shot looks like a samurai film. It's just it really is a gorgeous world to exist in. So, Ghost of Yōtei.
I love the actress that's playing the protagonist too.
Oh, you know her?
I know of her. We haven't met.
Okay, cool.
But,
well, I mean, that's what I meant, right?
No, she seems. I didn't know her until recently, but she seems pretty dope. Pretty excited for that. Not like as a person, like her body of work is cool.
Right. I mean, I saw that she was already getting hate online.
Yeah, of course she is.
Probably because she's a woman in Ghost of Tsushima, or in the Ghost franchise. Yeah.
And an Asian woman. Like, not a great,
not
an easy demo to be a part of, unfortunately.
But yeah, I think it's really cool that brand new protagonist from the first game. I'm not going to spoil anything for Mike because I know he's going through it, but that was kind of a surprise to me. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this game. Okay. So that was the state of play at a high level. I thought it was pretty good. Excited for what's coming. Now, Connor, do you want to talk about our Meta Connect?
Yeah, so the Meta Connect did not have a ton of gaming stuff showed off, so we're not going to talk about it a ton. There were 2 big drops. One of them is the MetaQuest 3S, which is a more affordable version of the MetaQuest 3. It's the same processor and the same high-quality color pass-through. So all of the games that are on the Quest 3 are going to be playable on this thing, and it's only $299 as opposed to $500. So that's pretty cool. That's a huge price cut.
So is it like a more compromised entry-level version, or is it what is it?
So the compromises are in resolution. It is the same resolution as the Quest 2. It's also the same size, I think, as the Quest 2. It's not as small as the Quest 3. And the lenses. The lenses are Fresnel, which to most people, that's what you're used to. I don't know what the PSVR 2 uses, but pretty much every other headset on the market other than the Quest 3 that I know of is running Fresnel lenses. And once you've tried pancake lenses, it is very difficult to go back. They are night and day difference. The field of view is better, bigger sweet spot. They're just a much better lens. So I get it, but are they $200 better? I don't know. You have to make that call yourself. They also made the Quest 3 cheaper. They got rid of the lower storage version, and the 256 gig is now $500. And they got rid of the 128 gig Quest 3. So you're still paying $500 minimum for a Quest 3. You just get more storage. And they're bundling all of these with Batman Arkham Shadow, which reviews are looking really positive on right now. Granted...
Okay, yeah. New Arkham game.
New Arkham game. Looks really fun. Granted, the media ecosystem surrounding the Quest and Meta in general is horrendous and bordering on useless. So good, I think it'll be good. I'll probably pick it up. It looks really fun. But the Quest 3S, the real goal is to get that full color pass through so more people can play the mixed reality games. And all the Quest 3 enhanced games are going to run with their enhancements on this because it's the same chip. And Meta's really leaning into that mixed reality stuff right now. There's a lot of cool mixed reality games coming out. And it's just a cool technology, I think. I was dabbling with it the other day. It still feels kind of future like they're building the software now for a future product. Like, I just don't see myself putting on a headset to watch YouTube, but the interface is great. Yeah. Being able to just use my finger, like I don't have to hold a controller and pick videos. You can type, you can do whatever. All of that's really cool. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit there with and like even a movie, on a flight, I'd have to think about it. I still don't know if I'm ready to wear a VR headset in public, but I could absolutely see strapping one. You're already very uncomfortable on a flight wearing a VR headset.
People already do it. It's just not something I think I'd be willing to do, and people do it.
And they're doing a lot for spatial computing as well to kind of compete with the Vision Pro. New Windows laptops, this functionality isn't out yet, but you're going to just be able to look at the laptop, and when you do that, the screen on the laptop goes dark and you get as many screens as you want in front of you in the headset. And I tested this out, the beta of it. Text is legible, and that's like the biggest thing you need on this. So it is actually at a state where it's usable. I could see a world where I do this. I don't know that I will, but that is a neat functionality to have for productivity, to be able to have infinite screens around you for whatever. I see the use case. If you have a comfortable headband, maybe. I don't know. I think it's neat. I'm glad it exists. And the reason I'm really glad it exists is because of the next thing that they announced, which I think is probably the most important piece of technology that we've seen since the launch of the original iPhone.
Bold words.
I am extremely bullish on Orion, Meta's augmented reality glasses prototype. These are not a consumer product yet. There's only like 1,000 of them in existence, and they cost $10,000 just to produce right now. But they are a fully transparent pair of glasses that are a very near normal eyeglasses form factor. They're a little big, because it's a prototype. They're a little big, and they fold in a different place. They have to fold a little bit back on the arms instead of at where normal glasses do. But the people that tried this, it's like 70-degree field of view and just totally legible augmented reality holograms floating in the world. You can walk around. Two people can have them on and be looking at the same thing together.
Wow.
It has a neural sensor you can put on your wrist, so you can have your hand at your side and do gestures with your hand to control it based on what you're looking at, or even in your pocket. It doesn't have to be able to see your hand. This is absolutely like an iPhone replacer. When these are cheap enough that they're a similar cost to a phone, I will have these instead of an Android phone. I just can't. It can't compete. You can have as big a screen as you want on this.
So will these things have phone capabilities? Like, can I make calls?
That's the plan. Yeah, this is going to be a phone replacement. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
This one obviously doesn't. It's an in-house prototype. The software is not really there, but this is what they're working on right now, and I am extremely excited about this. The idea of, if this reaches the ubiquity of smartphones, if everybody is walking around and like me and my buddy are sitting next to each other on the bus and we can watch a YouTube video together without annoying a bunch of people, like, because we can have it in our glasses. Or even you could have
sharing a thought bubble or something weird like that.
Or like you can be
crazy.
Walking around and you can have a video playing. You can have the Zoomers can have their Subway Surfers running while they're walking around town or whatever. There's just so much potential for this. Maybe they just added HDMI input to the Quest, so you can plug any device in and use it as a screen. And all the mixed reality stuff they're doing on the Quest, which is a little clunky right now, suddenly makes a lot of sense because it's probably going to run on this hardware too when it comes out. And it's not going to be gaming focused, but this is game-changing technology. And I've seen some naysayers, and I get it. The glasses it's a prototype. They don't look good right now. They're a little bulky, and the first iteration that reaches the market will probably not be it. But this is really exciting to me.
If they pull this off, I mean, this is essentially Tony Stark tech.
It's exactly
in your glasses.
I mean, 10 years ago, they were saying this in some interviews. 10 years ago, most of this technology didn't exist. They set out to build it, and they said we have a 10% chance of this happening. There are so many things that may just not be possible, that we may not be able to pull off at all. And the fact that they got to a prototype, and like, I guess Meta internally has this concept of time machines, which is a machine they make that isn't consumer level, but it costs a fortune. It might be big and bulky, but it shows what the world might look like in 10 years. And that's what they're calling this pair of glasses. And I see it. You know, they're minimum 2 years away from a consumer product. I bet more like 5, probably 7 until it's something that everybody wants to have. But they're crazy. Like, I can't stop watching these videos. They're really, really cool.
Maybe their 20-year time machine is a contact lens version of this.
Yeah, that would be
something
ambitious.
crazy like that.
I mean, these are already, they're wireless. So there's like a little puck you have to carry around as well in your pocket. It's about the size of a phone.
Okay,
and
yeah. These are the little concessions that will turn the mainstream off, because you already said there's a puck and a sensor on your hand, and
the sensor on your hand
right?
is optional, and the sensor on your hand by the time it reaches the mainstream is going to be a smartwatch.
But yeah, what I'm saying is like, this is, these are the concessions of a prototype. They're going to figure this stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to have the sensor on your hand. It's probably going to be better by the time it reaches consumers. Although it was already like a cloth wristband, essentially. Like it looked, you wouldn't notice it unless somebody pointed it out in the videos.
Right, okay.
It was very cool. The puck, it was just a phone. It was the size of a phone. You would put it in your pocket or in your bag and carry it.
Yeah, and if this thing replaces your phone, I guess then what's
exactly.
the harm?
You've lost nothing. Yeah. You've just gained. The only thing I feel like you're losing with this is like, I can't show my friend a video. If they are not also wearing these glasses, you can't
wear these insanely expensive futuristic glasses to share content.
Yeah. And these probably will be like $2,000 when they come out to a consumer product, I think. But I'm crazy excited for this. This has me. I'd kind of written off mixed reality as like nothing to me, I guess. But suddenly I see these glasses and it's a form factor I could see myself actually wanting to use. And I'm like, oh my God, like my game designer brain is going, what could I do? Could dual screen gaming can come back, like, because we can have as many screens as we want. We could attach a screen to the controller you're holding. We could put a screen in the air while you're also looking at the TV screen. Like, there's just so many, from a game design perspective, so much cool stuff you can do with this. You could leave little Dark Souls style notes in the real world for your friends to find. Like, yeah. There's so much that these could do. I find it really, really exciting. I can't remember the last time, if ever, that I saw a piece of non-strictly gaming consumer technology that I thought was this cool.
Yeah, so did they show any gaming concepts on it, or was this strictly just a...
It was not super gaming oriented, obviously. This is a phone replacement, not a game console replacement, but they did show a Pong game, essentially, where they had 2 people, and you would just kind of hold your hand up, and they were knocking a ball back and forth with a paddle.
Okay.
And it was just kind of to show, yes, this runs fast enough, this is real time, and you can both be seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a proof of concept.
That's crazy.
They're not making video games for a piece of hardware that doesn't exist yet, but
even like something as simple as Pong, and you can't even get simpler than that, but something as simple as Pong, running in a way like this is revolutionary.
Yeah, I mean,
because like you said, you're playing Pong in real life.
Yeah,
in augmented reality. That's
I mean, because if you can do that, then the technology's there. I can put a chessboard out in front of us. I can, or any board game works. You can probably play if you're carrying a controller, Street Fighter, like, and the characters are standing on a table in front of you fighting each other. Like, all of that suddenly works, and all this mixed reality stuff that just seemed clunky at best to me before, suddenly, like, yes, I see the investment. I see why you're doing it now. Very exciting to me.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating to me looking at Meta as a company, because when they rebranded as Meta, they were kind of laughed out of the room.
Yeah.
And they kind of just have kept their heads down and have been working to kind of prove that
I do
this
think
is why we're called Meta.
The original vision.
We're interested in virtual augmented worlds.
The original vision of the metaverse was VR, though, and I don't see Meta's not stepping away from VR. Their investment in the Quest is not going anywhere, and the Quest, even once these glasses exist, I don't think the Quest goes away. The Quest is probably more comfortable and stuff and stronger, but this is not a gaming product. Quest, or even a wear at your desk productivity product. This is the Quest is maybe going to be a laptop replacer or a desk PC replacer someday, and this is the phone replacer, kind of. So,
yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I think it's fascinating seeing this company look so far into the future.
Yeah.
Because obviously, all the big tech companies look into the future, and they're prototyping things and whatever, but Meta seems to be the one that actually has something to show and adheres to a pretty clear vision of like, this is what a future with this technology could look like. Which is neat.
Look at them compared to Google. Like, imagine if Google had dropped Horizon Worlds. It's gone. It doesn't exist anymore, and they're not making Quest hardware anymore. If it was Google, the whole division would have been scrapped, laid off. It'd be gone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Meta's had their fair share of layoffs, I think, just like every other tech company, but the Reality Labs team is still working. The Quest is just getting better. Horizon Worlds is still a thing that you can play if you don't value your time very highly. But even that product I could see growing. You know, the fact that you can have a display like this, these glasses, makes me think that the reality of a standalone mixed reality headset that is comfortable to actually do office work in. Suddenly I believe in the vision there too. If they can make these glasses, I think that can exist as well. So I don't know, VR, the future for all of it just looks very bright right now. Not necessarily from a gaming perspective. There's still no games. There's still Hitman was bad. Batman looks fun. Actually,
but VR and AR as a technology though, we always understood that to be kind of extending beyond games.
Yes, absolutely.
Like obviously there's immense gaming potential too, but
yes,
there's lifestyle potential with these things. I mean, there's potential to be something that changes the way we interact with the world.
Seeing the stuff they made with these glasses right off the back had me like, VR gaming right now tends to limit itself to that immersive you are in the game perspective. But now I'm thinking, why it doesn't have to be that. The game can be on your desk, like with mixed reality. And that is more interesting to me. There's more genres you can do there. It doesn't have to be a first-person game. It can be a game with a non-traditional interface. It can be a game that has a bunch of different screens, or a screen, or a game whose world you can reach into occasionally, but you are not in that world. And that just opens up a lot of genres that I don't see getting explored in VR. Like, you could do a prototype I've been thinking about making is like a Zelda game where when you find the map in the dungeon, the character hands it to you, and now you have this physical map that you have to set to the side, and you're looking at this map, and you could do that with other tools as well. There's just a lot of very unexplored game design potential, and I think as VR AR extends into other markets outside of gaming, it makes more sense to make the games because more people are going to have the hardware. You know, if these replace the smartphone, you know there's going to be a ton of games made for it.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously...
I don't think it's that big of an if, dude. I think if they can release these glasses in this form factor that they're targeting...
I mean, I think it's a big ask, right? Like, what you're suggesting is basically completely change the status quo, which
but
I'm not saying it's
once
impossible.
In our lifetime. The smartphone...
It's happened once, yeah.
The smartphone did not exist before it did.
Okay, let's just put it this way. If it does happen, Meta will be the most valuable company in the world by far.
And I'm bullish. I'm investing. I really think that that's what's going to happen. I think because nobody else, to my knowledge, the last I heard about this technology, this sort of thing, I mean, the most recent one I've seen is like the HoloLens 2, which is still like this super narrow field of view. You can't get very close to whatever the holograms are, or they're going to be clipped out. It just wasn't even close to something a consumer would want to own. It was only useful, and it cost a fortune, obviously. This is, to my knowledge, no other company on Earth is even close to this sort of thing. They have.
I'm sure there are like small startups here and there that are looking at the same kinds of technology, but obviously someone like Meta is in a position to not only have the ideas, but create them pretty quickly.
I mean, like Apple is the real competition in this space with the Vision Pro. They don't have anything like this. If they had anything like this, they wouldn't have released the Vision Pro. Like, because the Vision Pro.
Yeah, I'm just curious to see, like, maybe I mean, if other companies see the potential, like for
a
truly game changer, like alter the future of humanity level technology, then we will see people different big companies reaching for this idea.
I think we will, but much like the iPhone, like nobody's even close yet. Like it's going to take it's going to take a good
we're
deal
talking
of
like
time.
A decade. Yeah.
Like Apple could have this product, or not Apple, Meta could have this product to the market in like the next 5-10 years. No one else can say that, I don't think. Not even.
Yeah, they're the furthest along.
Yeah. And they're not there yet. But the fact that they showed it is like such a bold proclamation, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's really it's very fascinating to me. And I'm really excited, especially as someone who doesn't drive. There's the one I'm really excited for is right now you can wave your phone around in the air like an idiot, and Google Maps will draw arrows for your GPS so you can walk. And that's what I want so badly, is to have that on a pair of glasses so I don't have to wave my phone around like an idiot and I can find where I'm going.
Yeah, just like arrows in the world beside you.
In the world to tell me where to go.
Fascinating. It's such an interesting future to think about.
And like live, other stuff exists already. Live translation of text. You pull up, put just text in front of your eyes, gets replaced with a language you can read. And then the AI stuff that's going to come with this. This is going to be a big mix of what I would say is good AI and bad AI. And it's kind of hard to say which is which yet. I don't like AI that replaces people, but AI that serves a purpose that a human being could not serve before, stuff that opens new doors for us, I think is really cool. And meta AI is a big part of this, and I don't know what that's going to look like yet.
No, it's certainly all very exciting stuff.
One of the things they showed was like opening a cupboard and seeing the ingredients and saying, "Hey, what can I make with this?" And it just brought up a recipe that you could cook with stuff you had on hand.
Yeah, wow,
that's cool. I'd rather it show me a recipe written by a person that the AI found for me, but still.
Right. No, it's a very exciting perspective technology. And I didn't know anything about this until you brought it up. So yeah, thank you for sharing. I think it's very cool. I don't know if I'm as bullish as you for it replacing phones, but I think it's important for companies to have this kind of ambition. Like even if it doesn't end up panning out that way, they should be aiming to change the world because they're one of the few entities who have the ability to actually do it.
Yeah. And this just feels so much like you said all tech companies are forward thinking, but this feels way more forward thinking than a lot of stuff we see. I mean, Google especially is dropping stuff all the time. Microsoft feels like they're always playing catch up. This isn't just forward thinking now. This was forward thinking 10 years ago when they got started on it. This is crazy. Yeah. Most American companies can't forward think past the current fiscal quarter. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, in that sense, it is very unique. It's exciting.
Yeah.
All right, Mike here, cloaked in darkness. Are you good, Mike?
Yeah, I just haven't turned the light on.
Shall we move on to what we're playing?
Yeah.
All right. How many games do we all have?
One.
I have
one.
2-ish.
All right, Mike, you go first then. If you have 2.
First off, I've been playing a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima, which we did talk about earlier.
Nice. Are you playing that on PS5?
No, I'm playing it on PC. I bought it on Steam.
Okay.
It's a pretty game, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm only about 2 hours in, so I'm not too deep, but it is very, very pretty.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Combat's hard though. Game's not easy at all.
Yeah, the combat. Yeah, I remember playing it on hard mode too, and it wasn't a walk in the park by any means.
Yeah, like even on normal, I'm still getting like 2-shot by enemies if I'm not careful. So it's not an easy game. I guess that's intended because you're meant to be stealth.
Well,
you're meant
that's
to
the
not
thing too.
Be
like
a samurai.
Yeah, I mean it's a fusion though. Like if you want to go in on stealth, you can be a ninja, but if you want to be a samurai, you can invest more in the combat, which is what I found the most interesting. I actually thought the stealth segments of Ghost of Tsushima were kind of weaker, but the samurai bits were really fun. And eventually you get to the point where you like learn all these different stances and you can do all of these really cool kind of kills, and it just feels really fun to fight in that game.
I'm already having fun with the standoff mechanic because I think that is so much
that's
fun.
Great.
So the standoff mechanic, when you approach a group of enemies, you can swipe up on the controller pad, or I don't know what it's on the PC keybinds. I'm playing with PS4 controller. But you will call out to them, and then the game will go into slow mode, and you'll hold a button, and when they attack, you release the button, and they just die.
Wow.
It just
so it's basically
frames it as like a samurai movie. You know, when like a guy runs at him, he attacks, and then he just draws the sword and cuts him in half. Yeah. And you can upgrade it to kill up to 3 people with it.
So it's basically you walk up to a group, you call them out. Right, and then it's like this highly kind of cinematic. It's like the Western equivalent of draw and you shoot. It's that, but with samurai swords.
Yeah, it's so
you
cool.
unsheath and you cut someone down, and like Mike said, you can upgrade it twice, so you can basically mow down 3 people before the combat actually starts.
Yeah, but it is timing based. Once you get the timing down, that's not that hard.
Why are you playing with a DualShock 4 instead of your DualSense? I'm pretty sure it has all the...
Because my girlfriend's using the DualSense to play Diablo.
That'll do it.
Yeah, she's playing the PS5. I only have one DualSense.
Because I think it has the feature set on PC.
It is a PS4 game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima came out on
was
PS4.
Originally a PS4 game, so it felt right to play it with a DualShock 4.
Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that.
It has perfect compatibility. Everything makes sense. It's just it's the same binds as the console version. I'm pretty sure. And it uses the touchpad well. I've never experienced a game that uses the touchpad in such a way.
Yeah, like Astrobot Rescue is the only one I've played that has.
If I swipe up on the touchpad, it blows the wind, and the wind guides me to my objectives.
That's cool.
I forgot about markers.
That. Yeah, it's just the wind. You follow the gusts of wind.
That's good.
You can play your little flute.
So many little good touches like that in Ghost of Tsushima that I've forgotten about.
So there's basically no UI. The only UI you have, I think, is your health bar.
That's really good.
Yeah, it is so immersive. But they don't need it. They don't need any compass. You don't need a compass. You don't need really anything. If you want to go north, you just mark it on your map, and the wind will guide you to that map marker.
Good game design.
Plus, it's just the whole concept of like a wandering samurai is done so well in this game, where you can, like Mike said, basically just follow where the wind blows, and you'll find interesting things going on.
And there's little shrines where you have to follow a fox around to lead you to the shrine where you can get charm slots. You just discover these things, and it's not like a traditional open world game where they're like a time investment. You follow the fox for like maybe a minute and you get your reward. That's it. That's the whole thing. Area complete. Nothing else you need to do there. You can leave.
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, Ghost of Tsushima, it kind of does follow the Ubisoft formula, but I think it does it exceptionally better than Ubisoft
there's
themselves.
No big time sinks that I've encountered so far where, you have to clear this outpost for you to have a better time.
Yeah.
Like following the fox to the shrines is so simple and so easy that I don't mind doing it when I come across a fox den.
Plus, I just think it's really cool that usually, like you said, Mike, these activities in an open world game like this are like, oh, go climb this tower or go clear this base, right?
Yeah, eventually
but with
they
Ghost
feel
of
like
Tsushima, they're all.
time.
But with Ghost of Tsushima, like it has stuff like that, but it all has the dressing of ancient Japan in it, right? So like Mike said, go follow this fox for a reward, which is just kind of neat, right? Yeah. Go practice your sword cutting. I don't know if you've even done this yet, Mike, but you can like slice stacks of bamboo to like sharpen your sword or something. It's very cool. You can compose haikus, right? Like you find these peaceful spots in the world to compose haikus. And you actually, you sit down and there's like several options you can select. So you can compose your own haiku, and you say the haiku, you get some atmospheric shots of the spot, and then you get like a stat increase or something like that. So it has those open world trappings, but it just frames them in really intelligent ways to make sense with the world.
There's no climb this mountain or climb this tall building to unveil the map. The map's just unveiled as you go through it. There's no need to climb a tower to open areas of the map. There's no need to clear an outpost to unlock things. It feels very diegetic, I guess. I think that's the right word.
That's cool.
Like everything's integrated in the world and it doesn't stand out. Like with Ubisoft open worlds, you always run into this trapping of why are there so many abandoned radio towers?
Yeah.
Why is there 3,000 outposts in this area that are all full of guys armed to the teeth?
But why do all tall buildings have a wooden post that jut out of them and a hay bale conveniently underneath that spot?
Hay bale, yeah.
Oh, Ubisoft.
Hearing you talk about this actually makes me want to play Ghost of Tsushima again, because I do want to play it again before Ghost of Yōtei, and I only ever played it once.
And I have been playing it with all the graphics up to max, and it runs beautifully. I'm running 144 on max settings with, I think, DLSS running.
Yeah, I hear it runs really well on Steam Deck.
So beautiful. It's such a pretty looking game that I don't even notice that I'm playing a video game at some points.
Man, Ghost of Yōtei is going to be something real special.
It's going to be a very good game.
All right, so I'll go next. So I've been obsessed with Vampire Survivors.
Again?
I've been playing it. No, not again.
This is your first time?
Have I talked?
I don't think
so. I played it briefly on Switch, but like not real. Yeah, so basically this is my first time.
I mean, this game blew up 2 years ago.
No, I remember watching NL play it a lot, and then I guess I didn't play it because it wasn't on PlayStation at the time, but I finally saw it was on PlayStation and I got it.
That's crazy.
And I've been playing it on
game is mobile.
I've been playing it on Portal, and they just shower you in trophies. So I beg to disagree.
I'm a little surprised that it does well on the Portal with all the I'm surprised it doesn't go to bitrate hell because of all the.
Yeah, it can get a little messy when things go crazy, but I don't know. I've really enjoyed playing it on that thing.
It's really fun. It's free on mobile, by the way.
It's such a fun game. It's free on mobile. That's crazy.
Free on mobile.
I think I paid like $3 for it.
Yeah,
or
it's
something
cheap on everything, but it's free on mobile. That's where I played it a bunch. Have you survived the 30 minutes?
Oh yeah, multiple times.
Have you survived past and like?
Well, okay, so not yet. I know what you're talking about, but not yet. Yeah. So I guess for the uninitiated, Vampire Survivors on paper is a very simple game. It's a game with Castlevania aesthetics where you play as a character with an ability, and the only gameplay is to just walk around, basically. Walk around and avoid enemies, pick up power-ups, that sort of thing. But as you walk around, your character auto-attacks. And these auto-attacks, as you pick up power-ups in the world, kill more enemies, level up, become more powerful, the effects on the screen become more crazy, and eventually, towards the end of the run, your entire screen is just filled with effects that might give you an epileptic seizure, where the entire screen's flashing, things are flying around, everything's dying around you. But that sort of power escalation is really satisfying. You get a lot of dopamine from it. It's very addicting.
It's a really fun game.
It's extraordinarily fun.
Also, the 30-minute loop is just awesome. Like, because once you're pretty good at it, you're going to make it to the end of the 30 minutes most of the time. So you sit down, you play a game of Vampire Survivors, and you're like, I know this is going to be 30 minutes.
Right, yeah. And another thing I love about this game is that it showers you in unlocks.
Yeah.
So, without fail, basically any run you make, you will unlock something. Whether it be a new character, whether it be new powers, whether it be just money to buy stat upgrades to improve your base character stats. It's fantastic and rewarding the player. And one thing I personally really love is that all of those rewards are achievements, basically, on whatever platform you're on. So on PlayStation, you get a trophy for every one of those achievements. I imagine on Xbox it's the same thing. You get like achievements for every single one. So I have like hundreds of trophies from this game already, because it just keeps rewarding you.
It just showers you. Yeah,
it just showers you.
Is there a platinum?
Yes, there is a platinum.
Good
but
luck.
that's just the cherry on top, right? Like even if it didn't do that, I would still love this game just because it's an extraordinarily fun game.
It is, yeah. I have played some of its imitators a little, and they have not captured me in the same way at all.
Yeah, so I briefly mentioned earlier that I played this on Switch way back when. I think when it very first came out. And I don't know if it had this many features at launch or if they added stuff. I think they probably added a bunch of stuff
consistently. There's been DLC
because
as well.
there are so many characters now.
Yeah.
So many different kinds of weapons. There's just so much stuff in this game. Way more than what I was anticipating. I was anticipating 4 or 5 characters, and that was it for something.
No, the thing I think is crazy is there's so many characters. Naive. It doesn't feel encouraged to pick a favorite because you're constantly getting new ones.
Yeah, and it's fun because each character starts with a different starting weapon and also slightly different base stats and effects. So you can really kind of experiment too, because maybe some characters give you improved or multiple projectiles, and then you can kind of structure your run around getting projectile based weapons. So you just have billions of things flying around the screen in the end game, or maybe one of your characters gives you improved effect area. So you can kind of pick weapons and power-ups that create areas of damage, like the holy water or something.
The garlic is the best item
experiment,
in the game.
And the garlic, yeah. So I love that the characters themselves encourage build diversity too, because it kind of gives you a direction at the beginning. It kind of nudges you in that direction, but you don't have to go in that direction. Right, because depending on the kind of randomized nature of the power-ups, what you get might be totally different from whatever the character's strengths are.
There's also combos for getting two upgraded weapons, and that's super fun. You have to discover those. They're not told.
Right,
to
yeah.
you.
So after discovering those, that was a lot of fun for me too, because I didn't know that was in the game at first. And first time I did that, I was like, holy crap! And there's a huge list of combo weapons. And that's just another layer of things to discover and experiment with in this game.
I played a lot of Vampire Survivors, and I do like the build dynamics where you get a weapon, you're like, okay, do I want the combo, or is this a waste?
Yeah.
Because if you don't have combo weapons, runs can end.
Yeah.
If
you want to get to that 30 minutes, you pretty much, especially on the higher levels,
to have multiple.
You have to get a combo. Yeah.
And sometimes I've gotten combo weapons where the screen just stays clear even at 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to finally get to that point, because you alluded, Connor, because at the end of the run, at the end of 30 minutes, you basically die, because you get killed by an invincible enemy, but that enemy isn't quite completely invincible.
They have a health bar.
Yeah,
you have a health bar. It is possible. I have killed death.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I the closest I came was a run where I had the clock lance or whatever, where I could freeze them in place and then continually do damage. But I know that's not the final solution there. I know
parts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. So I recently discovered the rings and then the other one too. So I was like, okay, I kind of know what I need to do now. I just need to get a run where everything falls into place to where I can actually execute on this.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for when that run finally happens. What was that, Connor?
It's so hype when it happens.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
And like you said, it spawned a bunch of copycats.
Yeah. Some of them are even good. I hear Potato is good.
Deep Rock Galactic Survivor.
Yeah, that's the one I was trying to remember. Deep Rock. Yeah.
Yeah, so I imagine I'll continue playing this. I definitely at least want to get to that point where I kill death, because I feel like that would be a good conclusion for this game. Well, obviously going through all the stages too. I haven't done that yet either.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, really enjoying it.
Some of the stages are goofy. There's one that's like a milk factory.
Yeah, I've done that one.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm not trying to follow, because there definitely is lore and some story, but it's just whatever.
There's also super secret characters.
Yeah, I'm here for the pogs. Yeah.
I think
all right.
So I have been playing The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I'm shocked and hurt that neither of you have been playing it.
Yeah, okay, so let me justify myself here. And I guess this isn't really a justification at all. When I saw it was sub 90, I was like, this can wait.
Okay.
On Metacritic.
Well, I'll beat that. This game wipes the floor with Tears of the Kingdom. This game is so much better than Tears of the Kingdom.
Really?
Oh my god, yeah.
But you're a Tears of the Kingdom hater, though.
So the problem with Tears of the Kingdom is that it careens like rapidly between being a 10 out of 10 game and a 1 out of 10 game. Echoes of Wisdom sits comfortably and consistently at 8 out of 10. It is maybe 8.5. But it does.
Well, so I just also wanted to chime in. The other reason I skipped it is because I hear the performance is really bad in this game.
So I'm gonna knock out the two bad things first. One is performance. This game runs terribly, and there's no excuse for it because it does not look that good. Like there's nothing.
I'll play it on Switch 2 at a locked frame rate.
Yeah, good luck with that. I just don't believe that that's gonna happen. Because there's no reason this game shouldn't be a locked 60, let alone a locked 30.
I don't understand. Is it because of the echoes or something? Or
so the only thing I can think is that it has to have every echo loaded into memory at once, but that's probably not it because Link's Awakening had the same issue where it could not run at a locked 30. So there's just something critically broken about this engine that Nintendo has not bothered to fix. Yeah, and that's annoying. But it does look good. I love the toy aesthetic and everything. I think it's very pretty. It
looks exactly like the Link's Awakening remake.
Yeah, it's exactly, right? Yeah. But the other issue, and this is an issue lifted straight from Tears of the Kingdom, Nintendo, however long ago with Breath of the Wild, made the worst user interface ever known to man, and they have not bothered to improve on it at all. When you want to go through your echoes in this game, you hold down the button, and you have every single item you've ever learned in a linear list that you have to scroll.
No.
What were they thinking? Like, there's no, like, so many of them are completely useless. Like, I have 5 different pots that are identical. I have no idea why I would ever make any of them. And like, I have 5 different types of bat. I have, like, like, bats as in the enemy, like Keese.
That's crazy. Okay.
And like, no, I'm never gonna summon them. Like, why are they there? The only one that's been useful is the fire one to like light torches. Why? And I have to scroll through this massive list. Like, I know this in a puzzle game, the quality of a puzzle game is often pretty obvious in the amount of time between realizing the solution to a puzzle and doing it. And it's not short in this game sometimes just because you have to scroll through this stupid list. And the combat's also pretty mid. It's not very fun, especially early game. You don't have any good echoes, and it just feels like you're waiting for your echoes to finish the fight because there's no consequence for your echoes getting killed. So you just want to summon the echoes, run away, summon the echoes, run away. And you get the sword pretty early and can play as like a Link facsimile. You can go sword mode. But that has a timer on it, and it just kind of feels like, your fun timer's empty. You have to go back to the bad combat now. And that's pretty bad. But all of that out of the way, the later game echoes are more fun to do combat with. And the puzzles are really fun. The world is huge. It's beautiful. The music is amazing. I really like, and the thing that makes me angriest is that the writing is good. So they clearly can do it. They chose not to do it for Tears of the Kingdom. I am at a part of the world right now where 3 dungeons opened up and I could play them in any order I wanted. And when you clear them, you get different cutscenes with different information about the world revealed to you. They clearly knew better, and they did it bad in Tears of the Kingdom anyway. And that makes me really mad. But this game nails it. The story is interesting. They have kind of a villain swap out early in the game that is like a fun surprise. Link, you're playing as Zelda in this game, which is great, but there's like this implication that Link's adventure already happened before this, and you like keep finding evidence of it around the world, and every once in a while you cross paths with Link, and it is kind of implied that he's like, there's like
you cross paths with Link. I thought you had to save him. I thought that was the whole point of the
you
game.
are trying to save him. He is trapped in the still world. And you cross paths with him. I've crossed paths with him twice. The very beginning of the game and one time after that. And the second time, you're not trying to save Link until like the halfway point of the game. You kind of piece together what you need to do. But you run into him again, and it's kind of implied you've had help. You've been going in and out of the still world. It's kind of implied that Link has been trapped there like the Doom Slayer, like just tearing his way through this world barehanded because you have his sword. He runs in with a stick like Breath of the Wild Link and swats Ganon in the face with it and saves you. Like, it's crazy. They make Link really cool. Now, Zelda is obviously really cool too. She's the player character, but he's clearly like the violent idiot tearing his way through this world, where you are taking a more cautious, optimized approach through it, and that's really funny to me.
Yeah,
the writing in this game is really fun. Weird amount of dead dads in this game, though. It's come up twice already, and it might come up a third time. It's kind of strange. But there's just like memorable characters and a world that respects Zelda history, including Breath of the Wild. This world feels like a mashup between the world from A Link to the Past and the world from Breath of the Wild. Like, it has the Fair and Wilds in it. It has River Zoras as well as Ocean Zoras, which I think it's the first time those have both been in the same game. The ones that used to be enemies and the ones from Ocarina of Time. It has the Gorons in it. Kakariko Village is there. It's just really good. I really like it. I'm probably nearing the end of it, but I don't know. I gotta point out, I thought it was gonna. I always worry when Nintendo does a princess focused game that they're gonna make it a baby game and it's gonna be like really easy. I don't think that's been the case. The puzzles are not terribly hard in this, but they're probably on par with Tears of the Kingdom puzzles. And the combat, I've died like quite a few times in this. So
yeah,
it's fun. It's a really fun game. I'm excited to finish it.
Okay. Yeah, this is one I definitely will play at one point. I want to, wait for them to hopefully fix performance, and maybe the naive person in me is...
I just don't think they're going to do that.
Well, the naive guy in me is thinking that on Switch 2, there's going to be a better version of this or something, but
I really doubt it. I mean, they can't fix its greatest weakness, and its greatest weakness really is that user interface. That's way worse than the frame rate. That user interface is so bad, and it's kind of a constant issue because you're doing echoes every 30 seconds in the game.
You're just scrolling through all your echoes.
Yeah,
and trying
it's
to
horrible.
Yeah.
It's like the exact same as when you would bring up the fuse menu with your arrows. It looks exactly like that. And it was horrendous then, and it's worse now because it's actually kind of useful in this game. And the fuse arrows were not that useful in Tears of the Kingdom.
Right.
So,
but overall, sounds like a good game.
Yeah. Solid 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10 game. Highly recommended. Even in this deluge. I don't think it makes the game of the year conversation for me, but great game.
Yeah.
Pulled me away from Satisfactory.
Speaking of Satisfactory, Mike, do you want to talk about your last game?
Oh, man.
Do you want to farm some content for us?
Yeah, let's go to that content farm again. I've also finally started really digging into Satisfactory again. Took a little bit. But
yeah, what phase are you in?
I just got my coal set up.
Okay, so still pretty early.
Yeah, still pretty early. I'm moving pretty quick because I already know these phases really well. I just ripped down my factory to set it up again, and this time I've belted all my coal to my main factory.
Yeah.
So I could just integrate steel into the main factory and not have to care about running a truck route for steel.
Not the choice I made.
I just happened to find a coal vein pretty close to where I had my main factory set up, so I just belted it over.
What's your starting point? Are you in the Rocky Desert?
No, I'm not in the Rocky Desert. I'm in the grassy fields.
Okay, I don't know where your base is then.
It's next to 3 iron nodes, and there's a copper node.
Okay, I think that's the same
walk
place.
Away.
Does it have the big crater next to it?
Kind of close by, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty close to where I am.
I know there's more iron nodes in the area that I need to expand to eventually.
Oh, I know the coal that you're talking about. It's up on that hill by the, I know the one.
Yeah, and then there's another one down down like a gully and everything that I can use. That's right next to sulfur as well.
And you're not too far from the Sam either.
Yeah. So I know the area well enough that I'm just planning out based on that. But belting my coal has been a godsend, so I can directly babysit my coal generators instead of pipelining my water.
Are you like big automating your space elevator parts, or are you just doing like a container into a assembler?
I'm probably gonna big automate them.
I think if I was redoing it for the early ones, I would do containers into assemblers to get later in the game before I big automate. But
yeah,
I respect both sides.
Yeah, I like doing automation early and then just kind of ripping it down and building it up again.
See, I haven't even been
more
doing
efficient.
Because the later parts right now are using... I'm really glad I didn't do that, because the later space elevator parts are using the earlier ones for me now. So I had them going into an awesome sync, and now I've diverted them back into the factory, which is pure spaghetti now because I had to do that.
What I'm doing now is I need to do tier 2 miners, but I wanted to optimize and route for expandability on my miners. Yeah. So all of my smelters are now super compact next to the miners, and I can easily just run another splitter down.
Nice.
Down the line to optimize that.
God, I love this game.
It's getting really optimized and super compact.
I still have not automated heavy modular frames. I'm really putting that off. I have a good recipe for it that doesn't require screws.
Yeah, I have cast screws now, and then I have a bunch of hard drives sitting around.
I just need to make a new modular frame factory because I'm using all the ones I make right now.
Yeah,
and I need more iron for that. And
once I make my factory for expandability, because once I get Mark II miners, my production doubles, so I'll have to double everything in the line.
Everything.
I'm reworking. Too, yeah, that's literally the tier I'm working on right after steel. So that's I'm just getting the factory ready for me having to expand it by double instead of doing it when I need to expand it.
That's smart. Smart when you know what's coming.
Yeah, I knew I needed to double my production, so I'm ripped everything down preemptively. And before I rip everything down, I turn off my miners so it thorough puts everything anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't get flooded with resources.
Yep.
Man, I feel so far behind.
Yeah. I still have my biomass running, but I just shut those off. I had that also automated. I had a fully automatic biomass that I just dump wood and leaves into a crate and walk away.
Yeah, that's the setup I had.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of the earliest slightly complex builds most people are going to do.
Yeah, and you used to not be able to do that.
I know, it's crazy that was a 1.0 edition.
Yeah, you used to just have to walk around and manually dump things.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and it was miserable.
Biomass burners.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the whole reason I'm so happy about I wasn't in a rush to get to coal was because I could just automate my biomass.
Yeah.
Like, I still had to run around and grab biomass, but that's not exactly a hard chore.
No, and I never tore down my biofuel factory because you still need it for chainsaws. Chainsaws can't take other fuel types, which is a little annoying, honestly.
Like, I still have all that. So I have more than enough solid biofuel to keep my chainsaw running probably for the entire map.
Yeah.
Once I swap fully off of my biofuel generators. I'm still keeping them up, too, in case my coal system ever runs into some issues.
Yeah. Just a little bit of extra headroom.
So, like, they're off right now, but I have the option to turn them on if I run over.
Well, they will not burn fuel. Like, by default, they won't burn fuel if your coal will be used up first before your biofuel.
I think biomass are automatically burning.
No, they're not.
Are they?
They will not consume any fuel if you are not using enough power for them to need to.
Interesting. I know some generators will just burn fuel regardless.
Yeah, coal and oil are both like that. But it's the ones that are fully automatable.
Yeah,
like coal and oil.
Biomass will only burn what they need to go. So now that I have my coal up, the biomass, I could just technically
you can just leave it there.
Headroom.
Yeah.
But I like turning them off anyway.
Yeah, that's fair. What a game.
Yeah, what a game. Like, my biomasses will support me, but
bumping up against Factorio now, coming out in not that long.
Yeah, that's so true. But Dragon Ball takes priority for everything.
Dragon Ball takes priority above all, for sure. Now, for me, Dragon Ball takes priority, and then Alan Wake probably takes priority over Factorio for me. Because Factorio is evergreen. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you've already played it for like hundreds of hours, right?
Right. So it's not a hype-based game. Like Satisfactory even is more hype-based for me than Factorio is. Factorio is just Factorio. That's old reliable. You come back to that whenever.
Yeah, well, at least we got some more breathing room because Assassin's Creed got delayed due to it being a buggy mess, allegedly.
Yeah, I wasn't going to get that anyway. I am thinking about getting the one on Quest, though. The Assassin's Creed Nexus. It's just too many games right now.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll do it for us this week. Thank you all for listening. You can follow us at Podcast Game Talk on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Please like, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, or any other podcast services you use. Click the link in the description to join our Discord and talk to us there. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah,
Bye.
See you guys next week.